The sound of champagne bottles popping carried through the open windows of what my family still called the beach house. I sat in my car at the end of the private drive, engine off, watching strangers stream past carrying wrapped gifts in pastel colors. Pink and blue balloons clustered around the entrance. A catering van blocked half the circular driveway. My phone showed 43 text messages in the family group chat, none directed at me. Photos of my sister Amanda posing in a flowing white dress, her 7-month belly perfectly round. Mom arranging a dessert table on my deck. Dad grilling on my custom outdoor kitchen. I'd driven 3 hours from the city for this. Not because I was invited, the shower invitation had been addressed to the Harrison family with no individual names. I'd come because my insurance company had called yesterday with concerns about unusual activity at the seaside property. The coastal highway stretched behind me, empty in both directions. Ahead, my beach house, technically the seaside residence as the deed read, sat on 2 acres of prime oceanfront. I'd bought it 4 years ago, the first major purchase after selling my software company. The family still believed I rented a studio apartment and worked as a freelance web designer. A woman in her 60s emerged from the house carrying an empty champagne tray. She wore a catering uniform and looked harried. Behind her I could hear music, laughter, the unmistakable sound of my family enjoying themselves in my home. I checked the time, 2:47 p.m. The insurance inspector had said he'd call around 3. My phone buzzed. Dad's name appeared on the screen. "Where are you?" he asked, without preamble. "Amanda's asking." "Close," I said. "Traffic." "Well, hurry up. You're missing everything. Your mother's outdone herself with the decorations." I looked at the balloons, the catering setup, the professional photographer circling the deck. "I can see that." "What?" "Nothing. I'll be there soon." I ended the call and watched a man in his 30s, Amanda's husband Derek, carry a large box through the front door. My front door. The one I'd had custom made from reclaimed shipwood, imported from a specialty craftsman in Maine. The door I'd never given my family keys to. My phone buzzed again. This time a message in the family group chat from Amanda. "Can't believe we get this place all summer. Best baby gift ever." Mom's reply came instantly. "Your father and I are so happy we could make this work for you, sweetheart. Every baby deserves to arrive at the beach house." I read the message 3 times. Make this work. As if they'd arranged something. Negotiated, secured a deal. Another message, this one from Dad. "Just like when you kids were little. The Harrison summer tradition continues." The tradition he referenced had ended 15 years ago when the original family beach cottage, a modest 2-bedroom rental, had been sold by its owners. We'd spent one summer there when I was 12. Amanda was 10 and our brother James was 8. It had been a good summer. Dad always talked about it like we'd owned the place for generations. I scrolled through more messages. Aunt Patricia commenting on the ocean view. Cousin Jennifer asking about availability in August. Uncle Robert already planning a 4th of July barbecue. My phone rang. Unknown number with a local area code. "This is Victoria," I answered. "Miss Harrison, this is Michael Brennan, from Coastal Property Insurance. We spoke yesterday about the inspection." I sat up straighter, eyes fixed on the house. "Yes, what did you find?" "I'm actually here now. At 1847 Ocean View Drive, there's quite a gathering." "I know. I'm parked at the end of the drive." A pause. "You're here, Miss Harrison. The situation is, I need to speak with you in person. The occupants claim they have permission to be here. Your mother, Margaret Harrison, showed me what she says is a lease agreement." My hand tightened on the phone. "A lease agreement?" "Yes, it appears to be a summer rental contract. 3 months, June through August. It has your signature on it." "I never signed any lease agreement." "That's what I suspected. The signature looks inconsistent with the documents we have on file." "Miss Harrison, I need to inform you that we have protocols for situations like this. Unauthorized occupancy, potential fraud, forged documents. I'm required to file a report." Through the window, I watched Mom emerge onto the deck, laughing at something someone said. She held a glass of champagne. Behind her, Amanda sat in what looked like a throne, made of white flowers and tulle. "File the report," I said. "There's also the matter of the insurance claim your mother attempted to file last week." I blinked. "What claim?" "For water damage. She reported a leak in the master bathroom, claimed it had caused significant damage to the flooring and cabinetry. When I came to inspect, as part of standard procedure, I found no evidence of any leak, current or historical. The bathroom is pristine. She tried to file a false insurance claim. I can't make that determination, but the timing is suspicious. The claim was filed 3 days before. According to her lease, the rental period was set to begin. It appears she was attempting to establish a pattern of involvement with the property. I looked at my hands, steady on the steering wheel. 4 years of carefully maintaining distance from my family. 4 years of letting them believe I was barely making ends meet while I built a portfolio that included this beach house, a penthouse downtown, and a substantial investment fund. 4 years of Sunday dinners where they pitied me, offered career advice, suggested I get serious about my future. 4 years of them not knowing that when I sold my company, the deal had valued it at $47 million. Mr. Brennan, I'm going to come up to the house now. Can you meet me at the front entrance? Of course. Miss Harrison, I should tell you, I've already contacted local law enforcement. This is standard procedure for suspected fraud. They'll want to speak with you as well. That's fine. I ended the call and opened my car door. The ocean breeze hit immediately, carrying the scent of salt and expensive catering. I'd chosen this property specifically for this view, this access, this privacy. 2 acres of buffer from the nearest neighbor. My own slice of coastline. The walk up the driveway took less than a minute. The photographer noticed me first, lowering her camera with a confused expression. Then one of the caterers, a young woman arranging shrimp on a platter. Then my cousin Jennifer, her eyes widening. Victoria, we didn't know you were coming. The conversations on the deck stuttered. Heads turned. I saw Amanda's smile freeze, then rearrange itself into something that looked welcoming but felt calculated. You made it, she called out. We were worried you'd miss everything. I climbed the deck stairs. 40 faces looked at me with varying degrees of surprise and curiosity. Most were Amanda's friends. Women I'd never met, holding glasses of champagne and small plates of appetizers. But scattered among them were family members. Dad at the grill, spatula in hand. Mom near the gift table. Uncle Robert on one of my custom teak loungers. Aunt Patricia examining the view like she was considering purchasing it. Sorry I'm late, I said. I see you've all made yourselves at home. Mom hurried over, kissing my cheek. Oh honey, isn't this wonderful? Amanda's so excited about spending the summer here. It'll be so good for the baby. All this fresh air and space. The summer, I repeated. Well yes, we've arranged everything. The lease starts next week officially, but we thought for the shower. She waved her hand vaguely. It's family. Amanda stood, graceful despite her belly, and came over. Vic, thank you so much for this. When Mom and Dad told me they'd worked it out with you, I actually cried. This is the perfect place for bringing home a baby. I looked at her, really looked. Amanda had always been the golden child. Pretty, charming, married to a successful orthodontist. She lived in a 4-bedroom colonial in the suburbs, drove a luxury SUV, belonged to a country club. And yet here she was, claiming she needed my beach house for the summer. Amanda, when exactly did Mom and Dad tell you they'd worked this out with me? She blinked. What do you mean? I mean, did they say they'd spoken to me? That I'd agreed to this? Well, she glanced at Mom. Not in those exact words. But they said the house was available, and they'd handled everything. You know how Dad is with arrangements. Dad appeared at my elbow, grinning. There's my girl. Come on, I've got burgers ready. You want cheese? Dad, can we talk inside for a minute? His grin dimmed slightly. Now? We're in the middle of the party. Now? Something in my voice made him set down the spatula. Mom's hand touched my arm. Victoria, what's wrong? Before I could answer, a man in a suit appeared around the side of the house. He was in his 50s, carrying a clipboard and a camera. He spotted me and headed directly over. Miss Harrison, I'm Michael Brennan, Coastal Property Insurance. The deck went quiet. Not all at once, but in waves. Conversations dying as people noticed the serious-looking man with the clipboard. Thank you for coming, Mr. Brennan, I said clearly, loudly enough that everyone could hear. I appreciate you conducting the inspection on such short notice. Mom's face went pale. Inspection. Victoria, what's going on? Mr. Brennan pulled out a document. Mrs. Harrison, you showed me a lease agreement earlier. I need to clarify something with your daughter. Miss Harrison, is this your signature? He held up a piece of paper. I didn't need to look closely to know it wasn't. My actual signature had a distinctive loop in the V that this one lacked. No, I said. That's not my signature. The silence on the deck was total now. Even the ocean seemed to quiet. What? Mom's voice was faint. But your father said. I turned to Dad. You forged my signature on a lease agreement. His face flushed red. Now wait just a minute. I didn't forge anything. This is a family matter, Victoria. This house has always been available for family. This house, I said slowly, is not a family house. This is my house. I own it. I bought it. I never agreed to lease it to anyone. Amanda's hand went to her mouth. Derek moved to her side, confused. Wait, you own this place? I thought it was a rental property your parents managed. That's what they told you. Your dad said he and your mom had connections with the owner, that they'd arranged a friends and family rate for the summer. I looked at my father. He couldn't meet my eyes. Mr. Brennan cleared his throat. Miss Harrison, there's also the matter of the insurance claim filed last week, for water damage that our inspection shows never occurred. Mom made a small sound. That was a misunderstanding. I thought I saw. You filed a false insurance claim on my property, I said. Why? She looked at Dad. He looked at his shoes. Around us Amanda's friends were gathering purses, whispering. The party atmosphere had evaporated. We were trying to establish residency, Dad said finally. For the lease, to make it look more official. You mean to make your forged lease look legitimate. Victoria, you have to understand. Amanda needs this. The baby. Amanda has a 4-bedroom house. But it's not the beach. You remember that summer when you were kids? The Harrison Beach tradition. We wanted to give that to the baby. To our grandchild. I stared at him. So you forged documents, filed false insurance claims, moved into my house without permission, all for a tradition based on one summer in a rental cottage 15 years ago. Aunt Patricia stood up from the lounger. I think maybe we should give you all some privacy. No, I said. Stay. You should all hear this. I pulled out my phone and opened a document I'd prepared this morning, after the insurance company's first call. This is the deed to this property, purchased 4 years ago by Victoria Margaret Harrison. That's me, for $6.3 million. Paid in full, no mortgage. The property taxes, insurance and maintenance costs run approximately $48,000 annually, all paid from my accounts. I swiped to another document. This is the insurance policy Mr. Brennan's company holds. It clearly states that I am the sole owner, and that no other occupants are authorized without my written consent. Consent I never gave. Another swipe. This is the security system log. It shows that someone used a locksmith to gain entry to the house on June 3rd. That was 6 days ago. The locksmith's invoice, which I obtained this morning, shows that he was hired by someone named Margaret Harrison, who claimed to be the property manager and said she'd lost her keys. Mom's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the deck. No one moved to clean it up. The surveillance cameras, I continued, which are discreetly placed throughout the property, show extensive activity over the past week. Furniture being rearranged, personal items being brought in, my belongings being packed into boxes, and moved to the garage. I looked directly at Amanda, including what appears to be nursery furniture being set up in the master bedroom. Derek's face went white. Amanda, you said your parents owned this place. I thought they did. Her voice cracked. Mom said. She showed me pictures from when we were kids. She said Dad was working on getting it back, that it was almost finalized. Getting it back, I repeated. From what? Mom finally found her voice. It should have been ours. That summer, we looked at buying it, the cottage, but your father's business deal fell through and we couldn't afford it. I always regretted that. When I found out you'd bought this place. How did you find out? She hesitated. Your credit card statement. Last Christmas, when you stayed with us, it fell out of your bag. I saw the property tax payment. I'd spent Christmas at their house last year, 4 days of sleeping in my childhood bedroom, while they made comments about my little freelance projects, and asked when I'd get a real job. 4 days of listening to Dad brag about Amanda's husband's dental practice and Amanda talk about their upcoming kitchen renovation. 4 days of being the family's cautionary tale. And Mom had been going through my financial documents. So you saw I owned a beach house, I said. And you decided it should be yours. Not ours, Dad said. Family. For everyone. You don't even use it, Victoria. You're always working, always busy with your little computer projects. This place just sits empty. I use it every other weekend. I have friends who visit. I host business meetings here. Just because you don't know about my life doesn't mean I don't have one. Mr. Brennan's phone buzzed. He checked it and looked at me. Miss Harrison, the police are here. They'd like to speak with you. 2 uniformed officers appeared around the corner of the house. One was a woman in her 40s, the other a younger man with a notepad. I'm Officer Reeves, the woman said. We received a call about a potential fraud situation. Yes, I said. I'm the property owner. These people, I gestured to my parents, gained access to my home through deception, forged a lease agreement, and filed a false insurance claim. Officer Reeves looked at the gathered crowd, the baby shower decorations, the champagne and gifts. This is a family situation. It's a breaking and entering situation that happens to involve my family. Mom started crying. Victoria, please. We didn't mean any harm. We just wanted Amanda to have something nice. She's having a baby, your niece or nephew. Family should help family. Family should ask permission, I said. Family should be honest. Family doesn't forge signatures and file false police reports. Police reports? Officer Reeves pulled out her own notepad. Mrs. Harrison, did you file a report? Mom looked confused. I don't, Mr. Brennan interjected. The insurance claim would have required a police report number for water damage of that magnitude. I have it here. He showed his clipboard to the officer. Officer Reeves read it, her expression hardening. Mrs. Harrison, did you file a false police report claiming water damage at this address? I thought there might be damage, Mom said weakly. I saw some moisture. Our inspector found no evidence of any moisture, current or historical, Mr. Brennan said. The bathroom in question has never had water damage. The younger officer was writing everything down. Around us, the remaining party guests were definitely leaving now. I heard car doors, engines starting, Amanda's friends fleeing the disaster. Amanda herself was crying, Derek's arm around her shoulders. I didn't know, she kept saying. I really didn't know. I believed her. Amanda was many things, spoiled, entitled, thoughtless, but she wasn't a criminal. She was a victim of our parents' scheming as much as I was. Miss Harrison, Officer Reeves said. Do you want to press charges? The question hung in the air. Mom's crying intensified. Dad's face went from red to purple. Around us, the baby shower sat abandoned. Gifts unopened, food uneaten, decorations fluttering in the ocean breeze. I thought about the last 4 years. Every Sunday dinner where they'd asked when I'd get a real job. Every holiday where they'd made comparisons between my little projects and Amanda's successful life. Every family gathering where I was the failure, the disappointment, the one who hadn't lived up to potential. I thought about Mom going through my purse, Dad forging my signature, the two of them lying to Amanda, manipulating her pregnancy to justify stealing my property. But I also thought about Amanda at 12, teaching me to body surf. Dad grilling hot dogs that one summer, telling terrible jokes. Mom braiding my hair on the cottage porch while the sun set. One good summer 15 years ago, and they'd built an entire mythology around it, turned it into something they were owed, something they deserved to recreate, no matter the cost. I need everyone who doesn't live here to leave, I said. Now. Officer Reeves nodded. You heard her. This is private property. If you don't have the owner's permission, you're trespassing. The remaining guests scattered. Uncle Robert muttered something about not knowing the situation. Aunt Patricia avoided my eyes. Within 5 minutes the deck was empty except for me, my parents, Amanda, Derek, the 2 officers, and Mr. Brennan. The lease agreement, I said to Dad. Where is the original? He pulled a folded paper from his wallet. I took it, examined it. It was professional looking, probably done with a template, but the signature was definitely forged, and the document itself was worthless. Mr. Brennan, for the insurance fraud, I'll need to file a full report. The company will likely pursue charges. This type of fraud affects rates for everyone. I looked at Mom. She'd stopped crying but looked smaller somehow, diminished. You really thought you could steal my house? Not steal, she whispered. Borrow, for family. By lying. By forging documents, by filing false reports. I turned to Officer Reeves. What are the charges for something like this? Forgery, fraud, filing a false police report, the breaking and entering aspect. Since they hired a locksmith under false pretenses, it could be significant. Dad finally spoke. Victoria, please, think about what this will do to the family, to Amanda's baby. Do you want your niece or nephew's first memories to be of their grandparents in jail? I want my family to respect me, I said. I want honesty. I want the basic assumption that my property is my property, and that you can't just take it because you've decided you deserve it. I looked at Amanda. Did you know about any of this? The forgery, the insurance fraud? She shook her head, tears streaming. I swear I didn't. Mom and Dad said they'd worked it out, that you'd agreed. They showed me pictures from inside. I thought you'd given them a tour, given permission. Those pictures were from the security cameras, I said. Footage of them breaking in. Derek's jaw tightened. Mr. and Mrs. Harrison, I think you need to get a lawyer. I think, I said slowly, we need to have a very different conversation. Officer Reeves, can you give us a few minutes? She looked uncertain. Miss Harrison, if you're planning to let them off. I'm not planning anything yet. I just need to talk to my family. Privately. The officers withdrew to the driveway, though I could see them watching. Mr. Brennan also stepped away, making notes on his clipboard. I turned to my parents. Sit down. They sat on the teak chairs like chastened children. Amanda and Derek remained standing, uncertain. 4 years ago, I said. I sold my company. The software platform I built, the one you called my little computer project, was acquired by a Fortune 500 tech firm. The sale price was $47 million. Mom's mouth opened, no sound came out. I paid 38% in taxes, which left me with roughly $29 million. I invested conservatively, real estate, index funds, some angel investments and startups. This beach house cost $6.3 million. I also own a penthouse downtown, worth about $4 million, and a cabin in Colorado worth $1.2. My investment portfolio generates approximately $800,000 annually in passive income. Dad's face had gone from purple to gray. I didn't tell you, I continued, because every single time I showed interest in business, in technology, in building something, you dismissed it. When I was in college and started my first app, you told me to focus on finding a husband. When I showed you my first profitable quarter, you asked when I'd get a stable job with benefits. When I tried to explain my business model, you literally fell asleep. We didn't understand. Mom began. You didn't try to understand. You decided what my life should look like. And when it didn't match your vision, you wrote me off as a failure. Even after I sold the company, even after I bought these properties, I kept quiet because I wanted to see if you'd ever ask. If you'd ever be curious about my life instead of pitying me. I pulled out my phone again, opened my investment app. This is my current net worth, $31.4 million. I am significantly wealthier than anyone else in this family. And you tried to steal from me because you thought I was too poor and stupid to notice. The silence stretched. Somewhere down the beach, seagulls called. The waves continued their eternal rhythm. On my deck, surrounded by the remnants of a baby shower that should never have happened, my family finally saw me. I could press charges, I said. The forgery alone is a felony. The insurance fraud compounds it. You'd both likely face jail time, significant fines. Your reputations would be destroyed. Dad, your business would suffer. Mom, your social circle would ostracize you. I paused. Or we can handle this differently. Dad found his voice. What do you want? First, complete honesty. Amanda, did you know about any of their plans before today? No, she said firmly. I thought they owned this place. That's what they told me. Derek? Same. They said it was a family property they were managing. I nodded. Then you're not part of this. But you need to understand. This house is mine. Not family property. Not a shared vacation home. Mine. If you want to visit, you ask me. In advance. And you accept my answer, whatever it is. Amanda nodded, still crying. I'm so sorry, Vic. I should have questioned it more. I should have asked you directly. Yes, you should have. I turned back to my parents. You two have a choice. Option 1. I press full charges. The legal system handles it. Our family relationship ends here, today, permanently. Mom made a small sound of protest. Option 2. You immediately return every single item you brought into this house. You provide me with a written notarized confession of what you did. The forgery, the fraud, the breaking and entering. You attend family therapy, real therapy, not just apologizing, for at least 6 months. You sell your house. What? Dad stood up. Sell our house? That's insane. You tried to steal a $6 million property from your daughter, I said. I think liquidating your assets to understand the value of property ownership is fair. You sell the house, downsize to something modest. The difference, whatever equity you have, gets split 3 ways between me, Amanda, and James. James didn't do anything. Mom protested. Exactly, he's the only one who hasn't tried to take advantage of me. He gets rewarded for basic decency. I crossed my arms. Additionally, you issue a public apology, not to me, but to everyone who was at this baby shower. You explain that you lied, that you committed fraud, and that you're facing consequences. You don't get to save face. You don't get to spin this as a misunderstanding. You own it completely. That would humiliate us. Dad said. You humiliated me for 4 years. Turnabout seems fair. Officer Reeves called from the driveway. Miss Harrison, we need a decision. I looked at my parents, really looked at them. They were in their mid-60s, gray-haired, wearing expensive casual clothes purchased with money from Dad's moderately successful consulting business. They'd lived comfortable lives, raised 3 children, owned a nice home in a good neighborhood. It had never been enough. They'd always wanted more, wanted better, wanted to be the kind of people who had a beach house and summer traditions and grandchildren raised in luxury. And when they couldn't achieve it themselves, they'd tried to steal it from me. Mom, Dad, what's it going to be? Mom looked at Dad. Some wordless communication passed between them. Finally Dad spoke. The second option. We'll do whatever you require. Say it clearly. We'll return everything. We'll write the confession. We'll go to therapy. We'll sell the house and divide the equity. His voice cracked. We'll make the public apology. And you'll never ever enter any property I own without my explicit written permission again. Never, Mom whispered. I turned to Officer Reeves. I'm not pressing criminal charges at this time. However, I want this documented. I want a report filed about what happened here, in case they violate our agreement. She nodded. We can do that. Mr. and Mrs. Harrison, you should know that if your daughter changes her mind, or if you violate any part of this agreement, the charges will be significantly worse. What you did today was serious. We understand, Dad said. Mr. Brennan approached. Miss Harrison, regarding the insurance company, I'll need to speak with your supervisor. The fraud claim needs to be documented, but I'd prefer to handle it internally if possible. I'll cover any costs their claim might have incurred. I'll see what I can arrange. I looked around the deck. The baby shower decorations fluttered in the breeze. Unopened gifts sat on a table. Food was getting cold on platters. You have 2 hours, I told my parents. Clear out everything you brought in. Return my belongings to their proper places. Leave the keys on the kitchen counter. If you're not gone by 5 o'clock, I call the police and option 1 becomes reality. They moved immediately, scrambling into the house. I could hear them calling to each other, the sounds of hasty packing. Amanda approached me, Derek close behind. Vic, I really am sorry. I know you are. Can I? She gestured to the gifts. Should I take these, or leave them? I looked at the presents. Probably $5,000 worth of baby items purchased by people who just witnessed their hostess's parents being exposed as criminals. Take them. You didn't do anything wrong. You're a victim here too. She hugged me, awkward with her belly between us. When the baby comes, I'd like you to meet them. If you want, I'd like that. Derek shook my hand. For what it's worth, that software company you built, I'd heard about it, used the platform for my practice management. It's brilliant. I'm sorry your family never understood that. They left, taking the gifts, leaving the decorations. I stood alone on my deck, listening to my parents rush through my house, undoing their invasion. Officer Reeves came up the stairs. That was generous of you. The second option, was it? I looked out at the ocean. They're losing their house, their reputation, their relationship with me. They're facing public humiliation and forced therapy. It doesn't feel generous. It's more than they deserved, maybe. Or maybe it was exactly what they deserved. A chance to rebuild, to learn to become people who respected boundaries and earned trust. Or maybe I was still being too soft, still the little girl who wanted her parents to be proud of her, even after everything. My phone buzzed. A text from James. My brother Amanda just called crying. What happened? I sent him the address. Come to the beach house. I'll explain everything. By the time James arrived, 90 minutes later, my parents were gone. The house was restored to its original state. Only the abandoned shower decorations remained, and I'd hired a cleaning service to handle those. James stood in my living room, looking around at the custom furniture, the ocean view, the artwork I'd collected. This is yours. Yes. They really tried to steal it. Yes. He sat down heavily on my Italian leather sofa. I knew they were obsessed with that one summer at the beach. Mom talks about it constantly, but I never thought. He shook his head. Fraud. Forgery. Jesus, Vic. There's more. I told him about the company sale, the investments, the full scope of what I'd built, while they'd all dismissed me. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Then I'm an idiot. What? I believed them. All of it. The narrative about you struggling, needing help, not having direction. I've been sending you money. I blinked. What? Every few months, I transfer $500 to your account. I thought I was helping my struggling sister. You're a multi-millionaire. Despite everything, I laughed. James, I never asked for that. I know, but they kept talking about how worried they were about you, how you were barely making rent. I thought I was being a good brother. He rubbed his face. God, I'm as bad as they are. No, I said firmly. You were trying to help. They were trying to steal. There's a difference. He looked at me, really looked. When did you get so strong? I've always been strong. You just never noticed. We sat in silence, watching the sunset paint the ocean gold and pink. My phone showed messages from my parents. Apologies, promises, pleading. I'd respond eventually, but not today. Today I sat in my house with my brother and felt something I hadn't felt in 4 years around my family. Peace.